Yeah, good morning. This is Bang Bang Mayhill. Maidstone Prison. I think it was late 80s. I went to Maidstone from, I think it's from the Wandsworth. I've been chucked out of Albany, I'm not quite sure now. Don't remember, mate. But anyway, Maidstone Prison. As you come through, you got Kent to the left. Come down a bit further, you got Weald. You got Medway. And you got Thanet, I think it's Thanet for the 43s, paedophiles and all that nonsense. And anyway, I went to Weald Wing. I walked into Weald, met a few people that I was in Albany with, other places. Peter Colson, Bank of America. Nice guy, Peter Colson, mate. I mean, he liked me, Peter. He gave me lots of stuff. He gave me food, big bag of food, shirts and stuff, and t-shirts and other things. I really like. Do you know what, Peter Colson, mate, was a diamond. They reckon he's done half his wealth, what he got out of a Bank of America, whilst he's been in prison. He looked after everybody, Peter Colson, mate. Every time there was a food boat, he bought everything for the food boat. Anybody needed trainers, he'd buy them trainers. Peter Colson, mate, was a diamond. I really like Peter Colson. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know, but he's a gentleman, and I really liked him a lot. Yeah, train, man. Peter Colson. I remember Peter. I think Peter Colson was in Albany with me before. Listen, mate. Peter Colson, fit. He was really fit. He used to run around Maidstone Prison, well, the exercise yard. Fit, man. He used to run around there for what, 2 hours non-stop. Honestly, really. And the body hair was crisp, you know what I mean? All the abs showing, right, really defined. Little guy, mate, little guy, what, 5'8", 5'7"? But in Bank of America, what a big job that was, mate. I got a little story about that, but I'll tell you a little bit of story about what happened. This is the truth. I'm not saying where it was, what it was, and how it was, but this is the truth. This is what happened. When they done the Bank of America, right, they all went to a certain house to exchange bits and pieces to show and to look at what they got. And there was so much money, mate, and so much jewellery. Anyway, this certain person made them tea, coffee, lots of sandwiches, cakes, because she would do, wouldn't she? I mean, all that stuff there. And what she put all the stuff in the dishwasher. But before she put it in the dishwasher, she tipped it all out in the sink, you know, like coffees and coffees and teas, and all the crumbs in the bin and all this and the other. So she tipped this coffee, or it was on the side. The guy that done it, he must have been gutted, you know, because as she tips it up, two great big diamond earrings come out, massive diamond earrings, the shape of a pair, massive diamond earrings come out. And she went, yeah, someone's monkey here, someone's lost them, you know what I mean? They've lost them, and everybody's like looking at, all right, Cav, and she really doesn't know who it is, but the person who's done it does, you know what I mean? And she's got them in the sink, in the water, in this sort of dusty water, and she knows they're hers, and she's really excited, you know what I mean? Anyway, she told me all about this, yeah. So anyway, cut a long story short, then back to Peter Colson in Maidstone Prison. I mean, imagine all that stuff they had from Bank of America. They were so clever, mate, what they'd done there. Everybody liked Peter Colson. Everybody. He was on a food boat. He was on a big food boat. I think there was Pat Adams, Freddie Lloyd, Bobby Dixie, Stevie Doran. I think Stevie Doran. There was quite a few. Davy Fraser, Patrick Fraser. That was all on a big boat there, big food boat. Every night they used to have a good bit of grub, you know what I mean? Anyway, so as I goes in there, I meet Pat. Pat gives me bits and pieces. Pat's a good all right, mate, Pat. I mean, I remember Pat, I think he was leaving. I'm not quite sure if he was leaving or he just had a lot of stuff coming. He come down to my cells on the twos. He come down to my cell and he gave me loads of socks and t-shirts. He said, oh mate, yeah, this is you. I was massive, right? So look, Pat, there's no way I'm going to get them t-shirts on, mate. I'm going to get them over my arms, you know what I mean? So he gave me all these socks, about 10 pair of socks, and I had no socks. I mean, I wasn't getting visits, but I wasn't getting visits like from anybody important. You know what I mean? I didn't really ask for anything. I was one of the guys that just done my bird without asking for money and bits and pieces, because I didn't want to ask for mum, I didn't want my brothers and sisters and all that for money. All the money I had, I lost it. Yeah. Anyway, so Peter Colson, I've got me, Peter, and Ricky Curley. Used to go in the gym quite a lot, and Peter Colson was quite good on the bag, mate. He was quite good on the bag, Peter. Wasn't bad sparring. I see him and Billy Blundell having a row in there, not having a row as such, but had the gloves on and like punching the hell out of each other. I think Billy Blundell was a little bit much for Peter. But Peter, as I say, was a good. I think Peter weighed about 11.5, 12 stone, maybe not as much as that even. Very wiry guy, yeah, nice guy, little small guy, and I like Peter. But they said that when he got out to nothing. All his money had been spent whilst he'd been in prison. I don't believe that. I think they had forces at that bank in America. Do you know what I mean? I must imagine they're quite a lot hid away, yeah. But when he used to train in the gym, yeah. He used to do sit-ups, mate. I mean, sit-ups you wouldn't believe. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of sit-ups. And this is going a little bit forward before I tell the other people I was in it with. But when we done a big run for charity, I'm going to find out and see if I can get the paper sent to me. I want to put it in my book, yeah. But when we was in Maidstone Prison, we done a big thing for a charity, for a big charity, and we done a run around the inside of Maidstone Prison. Well, I think we done a 25-mile half marathon. I had a big pair of boots on. I was really fit as that was. Big pair of boots on. I done it. I think I come about last, but who cares? It was a charity, you know what I mean? And me, Ricky Curley set off because he had trainers. It was fast, but Peter Colson, mate, God, I think Peter Colson was one of about the second guys to finish it. Forget the guy who come first. The guy who come first must have, when he come out, he must have done the marathon. This guy must have, mate. He was such a good runner, fit. Anyway, we done a big thing for charity, and what it was like when we went to the gym. I think it was Peter Colson, Ricky Curley, me, I forget who the other guy was, the black guy that I went with. I think we done 1,000 press-ups or 2,000 press-ups, I'm not quite sure, but I'd like to go to the Maidstone Gazette and they'd have it in there. I'm not quite sure it was 1,000 press-ups or 2,000 press-ups in an hour or 2 hours, I'm not quite sure what it was yet. But we done it in sets of like 50s, 100s, 25s, things like that, yeah. And we kept going. And Ricky Curley, Ricky Curley done sit-ups. He was doing sit-ups. He never stopped doing sit-ups. I think it was an hour actually. He never stopped doing sit-ups after sit-ups after sit-ups. And Peter Colson doing sit-ups. That's all they did. I mean, all sorts of different sit-ups, all for charity, yeah. And they took pictures of it, so it must have been the Maidstone Gazette. I'm going to try and find out what year that was, because I'll get confused. All the prisons I've been, all the bird I've done, you get confused with the prisons and this, that and the other, yeah. So Peter Colson, I mean, I liked, as I said, I like Peter. The guy was just a nice guy, always asking if you need anything, you know, when he come down to your dinner. Do you need anything, mate? I go, no, mate, I don't need nothing, Pete. Do you know, you sure? Any trainers? I said, no, everyone needs trainers, doesn't it? So I said, no, Pete, I don't nothing. But what he done? Bought me a pair of trainers. Listen, I really respect that guy, mate, big time. He was a gentleman. And anyway, and then who else was there? There was Bobby Dixie. I got a thing from my son years ago telling me off about me talking about Bobby Dixie, what I did, and I disrespected Bob. Bobby Dixie, nice guy. I don't know what Bobby Dixie got nicked for. I didn't really ask him, but I should imagine it was something like an robbery or fraud or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But Bobby's a nice fella. I say he was on a T-boat with all of them. Everybody knows Bobby Dixie in there. Bobby Dixie was he was a hard guy, Bobby Dixie, mate. Not physically, but mentally, yeah. He was very, very clever. Me and him fell out in Maidstone over Stevie Dorwin. I like Stevie Dorwin, mate. Stevie Dorwin was doing a life of murder with his brother. I like Steve. Me and him fell out over in the queue at Maidstone Prison, getting our food, and it was something that was said to me. Steve said something. Steve stuck the nut on me. Yes, he stuck the nut on me. Stevie Dorwin, fair play to him. It was like, it was like my child hitting me on the chin, really, hitting me on the face, and I laughed, and anyway, I said, okay, Steve, where do you want it? Where do you want it? Upstairs, mate, or where do you want it, mate? Because but it never happened, yeah. Bobby Dixie was quite pissed off with me about it. Come on, we're all in prison together, we're all mates. He don't want to start falling out with pals. And he said to me, Bobby Dixie said, listen, behave yourself. I said, behave yourself, what are you talking about? I mean, we behave myself. And then Freddie Lloyd, but anyway, let's tell you about Bobby Dixie first. Bobby Dixie went into one. I won't disrespect Bobby, but what I said, what I'm saying now, it's not disrespectful, it's what happened. Bobby Dixie was a gentleman I met when I come out of prison. I was over at Pal Joey's, and I was dancing there with my Danny. All the other guys was there, but I was dancing with my Danny on the floor, and up a couple of stairs, couple of steps, started going up. It was Bobby Dixie sitting there with about 10 people on tables, and I was dancing like a lunatic on the E's, on double dubs and all that and other with my missus, and Bobby Dixie shouted out, "Hello, Ray." And I looked, and I was really pleased to see Bob. We had a little row in Maidstone, but Bobby Dixie, nice fella. He worked with a big company, mate. They liked him, and Bobby Dixie was a proper gangster, without a shadow of a doubt. Anyway, what happened in Maidstone it's something that's silly, really. What happened in Maidstone? Me and Stevie Dorwin fell out. Bobby Dixie didn't like it. How they got me in the dinner queue. I had a row with Bobby Dixie, effed him off, this, that and the other. Bobby said, oh mate, you're going to get really hurt. Anyway, so when it comes to watching a telly, watching the film, I'm sitting down at two rows of chairs from the front, yeah. Bobby Dixie's sitting behind me with Freddie Lloyd, and I think David Fraser and Patrick Fraser. I'm sitting there, and all Bobby Dixie starts saying this, that to me, calling me all sorts of names. So I said, do sort of favour, but behave yourself, mate. I'm really fucking hurt you, know what I mean? He said, you know what? He said, I'm going to stab you in the back. He said, I'm going to stab you in the back. I said, Bob, don't miss, mate, because I'll get all of that for whatever you got, and I'll stick it up your arse, you know what I mean? And me and him fell out, yeah? But it's like everything in prison, you fall out over silly things. And then about 3 days later, I think it was David Fraser come down to me. I said, what is it about you two? What are you fighting for? Come on, you're both doing bird. You're both doing big sentences, right? You know what I mean? Behave yourself, mate. Go and see Bob. Oh, yeah, but is he going to be all right? I said, yeah, come on, mate, go and see him. Well, in them days, must have been the 80s. I think it was the end of the 80s. EastEnders. They love EastEnders. It's crazy. They used to go mad. They used to run to the television room to watch EastEnders. Honestly, I'm not joking. Everybody in there, I hate you telling me, man, they loved it. They loved going to the television and watching EastEnders. So I went, oh my God, just a big television in it. So anyway, I goes in there and Bobby Dixie sitting there. I said, Bob, can I have a word? I'm with David Fraser. He went, what do you want? I said, come. I was like, I apologise, yeah. He went, that's all right, mate. He said, that's all right, mate. He said, look, after EastEnders, they're all sitting there, Pat Allen was in there. They're all in there watching EastEnders. They love it. Steve, everybody's in there. So he said, look, after EastEnders, he said, come over to my cell. He said, we'll have something to eat and have a chat, yeah. So I went over to his cell. They cooked some food, Peter Colson and all that. They brought some food up to the cell, Bobby Dixie, for me as well. And I'm sitting there, Bob, having something to eat, and he's going, look, let's have none of that shit. He said, stupid big men fighting over what nothing, who got in the queue, who this, who that. He said, look, he put his hand out. I put my hand out, mate, he shook his hand. And Bobby Dixie, mate, was a diamond guy that I met when I come home, and he was a gentleman and a scholar. He worked with a big company, and I loved it, Bob, but he died. I don't know what he died of, but he's a nice man. Bobby Dixie, grey hair, good looking guy, and nice fella. Me and Stevie Doran, I think Stevie got a life with his brother. They killed someone, shot someone, I'm not quite sure. But Stevie Doran, good looking guy, Stevie Doran, mate. I should imagine he was a lady killer. Nice fella, Steve. Pity me and him fell out of us, stupid things like that. He didn't really talk to me much about that, mate. Even though we made mates, you could see he was a little bit upset with me, mate. I don't blame him, really. I went a bit over the top of it, but he's a nice fella, Stevie Doran, and a nice guy. But he was thick with Pat Adams, and thick with Bobby Dixie, and thick with the Frasers, very thick. But as I say, I liked him. But once you fall out, it's quite hard to go back as a mate, isn't it? It's like you never know in prison who they are. You might come back and stab it to death in the shower. You don't know. You got to be careful in prison, mate. Who else have I got? I've got Freddie Lloyd. I met Freddie Lloyd in Lewis prison years ago, and Freddie Lloyd's a nice guy. Freddie Lloyd's a good-looking guy, black hair. Freddie Lloyd was well endowed. He used to walk. Freddie Lloyd, he used to walk round, come out of his cell. Listen, there was a couple of there was a screw in there that worked in the kitchen. I forget his name now. There was a screw in there that worked in the kitchen, gay as anything, raving puff. Love Freddie Lloyd. As I say, Freddie Lloyd was well endowed. And when he used to get unlocked, sometimes, I think the screw done it as a deliberate. I was right next door to Fred, and this gay screw, sometimes unlocked Fred by mistake. Fred used to walk to the door naked because he was well endowed, and this gay screw, oh Freddie, and all that. You know what I mean? He was in the kitchen. This screw made me laugh. As bent as they come. But him and Fred always got on together. I definitely think Freddie had a thing with his gay screw, because Freddie Lloyd was always smoking cigarettes. He had not fags, cigarettes. He always had cigarettes. He was always he never wanted for anything. So I definitely think he was having some sort of thing with his screw. Yeah, but I like Freddie Lloyd. Nice, good-looking guy. As I said, I was in Lewis with him, and eventually, when I went to Maidstone, he's in Maidstone Prison, and. He's in there. I mean, his mates. I can't remember now if David Fraser or Patrick Fraser was in Lewis the same time as Freddie Lloyd. I'm not quite sure. I think it was upstairs on the freeze. I can't remember now. A bad memory, mate. But I think one of the Frasers. I'm not quite sure, David or Patrick. I think it might be David there. Was it? Yeah, I think it was David with Freddie Lloyd, and they was always together, very thick. And one day Freddie Lloyd drove me mad. He drove me mad. Get at night time singing and shouting, and the radio going blaring. Couldn't sleep. I'm in the kitchen. Got to get up in the morning. I thought, right, Freddie Lloyd, you want to play games? So what I used to do is take the locks off, the door lock, the old-fashioned door locks. I used to rip them off. Yeah, I was really strong. I used to rip them off. Yeah. So I thought, you want to play games, Freddie Lloyd? So before I went to work, she took the door handle. I knew it was me, mate. But anyway, he couldn't unlock him. There was murders. Freddie Lloyd smashing the door down. He's got to get this. He's got to get a bit of puff and this, that, and anyway. Eventually gets out. He goes mad at me when I come back with mates. You know what I mean, Freddie Lloyd. I mean, who's it? Dennis. I tell you. Two guys that I liked in Maidstone. I think it was Dennis and Duke, or Dennis and Duggan. I'm not quite sure. I get mixed up with them two. Dennis is a sort of fat one. I know Dennis But they loved football, and they always used to want to win. If they ever lost a football match, they'd go mad, be shouting and screaming at each other. They loved football. They loved to bet on football. That was it, betting on football. They just loved it. Dennis and I think it was Dookie, I'm not quite sure anyway. But I liked the Arifs. I mean, I met them well before that in Jamaica Road. I think it was called the Sugarloaf. I'm not quite sure the pub they owned. Me, Peter Kelly, met them over there. But anyway, so when I was there with Dennis and Duke, they were nice guys, mate. I mean, they had it easy. They had so much money, Dennis and Duke. I mean, they was good armed robbers, mate. I mean, I got to say it. All that lot over Bermondsey was good armed robbers, mate. Gold bullion, all the bits and pieces of banks and all them sorts of things. It all come from that side, yeah. Fantastic armed robbers. They was really good at what they done. Dennis, I mean, we say good at what they done in prison, but they got the money, yeah. I think Dennis and Duke done the one under the underpass in the city. Done a security van. They was good at security vans. They had all sorts of proper guns. They had all the AK-47 or something like the AKs and all them sorts of machine guns and what have you. And when they went to work, mate, they had proper guns at the law firm. And they was feared by a lot of people, the Arifs. Even though they couldn't fight, there was very, very dangerous people as firms concerned. They're dangerous, mate. They didn't smuck about. They would shoot you. They would kill you stone dead in seconds. They didn't matter. They didn't care about no one. And I liked them a lot. We went back a long way as Jamaica Road and all them sorts of things, and then going in there with Peter Kelly and going there meet them in there and all that in the pub. Anyway, I liked them too. And after that, I met Vicky Dart. I mean, Vicky Dart, mate. I think he was in. I'm sure that he was in. Most of the people that I'm talking about was all long termers. Yeah, Medway was a long term wing as well. Kent was not so long. Yeah, Kent was a short sentence, maybe up to 5 years. I think, I'm not quite sure. But Medway and World was big long term sentences. Yeah. Anyway, what's it called? It's Vicky Dart. I think Vicky Dart was in Medway with Vicky Curley. Vicky Dart, mate. He didn't say a lot. Vic. He used to walk around, very upright, muscular guy. Yeah. Very upright. He talked when he walked. He was very upright, Vic. I liked him a lot, mate. He was a gentleman. He was a very, very dangerous, respected man, mate. Everybody knew who he was. I used to train upstairs with Vic, and I used to see some of the things he used to do were phenomenal. He was into his kickboxing and all that karate game. He was always kicking. I mean, very, very. He used to put his legs on top of the door. And stand there and be there for a couple of minutes and put the other leg up, and arms always stretching, always doing some physical exercise. Very strong on the bench. I see him benching 3 plates for reps. A powerful man, Vicky Dart. Powerful man. And I remember one day walking around with Ricky Curley. And Vicky Dart's walking around with Billy Blundell, Billy Blundell. And I could hear him talking about Vic was saying when he got nicked and when he dived in the water, and he got a reed put in his mouth so he could breathe for the reed. I mean, come on, it's like a film, isn't it? It's a proper film, isn't it? You know what I mean? But seriously, he said he dived in the water, broke a bit of a reed off, put it in his mouth, and was under the water, was breathing. When they come to shoot, they come to kill him, really. I mean, Vic was a dangerous man, mate. He shot at the old bill, like he was going out of fashion. And when he was in Brixton, he had an escape plan. I mean, to go from where he was I think it was in the double A cat or A cat wing. I was in there for a bit of time, but Vicky was in there. I mean, Vic was an escape from there, from walking from one wing to another wing, or walking to the visits. I don't know what he was doing, but he was going to escape. He was going to go to the wall. They had it all planned, and something happened. Something silly happened, yeah. And he didn't go. I don't think he went. I mean, anyway, but I like Vicky Dart, mate. Vicky Dart was a powerful, dangerous man. I've seen him. I've said it before, but I'll say it again because I'm talking about him. Vicky Dart, he had the biggest abs like that, mate. He had the biggest ab muscles I ever seen in a guy. He used to do sit-ups with 40 kilos, 20 kilo plates behind his head. Do sit-ups with that. I mean, I'm doing sit-ups now, and I've got to throw my hands forward. It's like not easy, mate, but he used to do it with 40 kilos and make it look easy. Twists and all that, and yeah, and bent his legs, not straight legs, all bent legs, twists with 40 kilos, sets of 10s and 20s and 30s. I mean, you took the 40 kilo weights off him. I think he done, I'm not quite sure if it was involved with that thing, me, when we was all down for the gym. I think Vicky Dart was there, Ricky Curley was there. I definitely think Peter Colson, and there was quite a few of us all doing it, sit-ups, press-ups and all that. I think Vicky Dart was there. I think Vicky Dart was doing press-ups and sit-ups, yeah? And he was doing phenomenal sit-ups. I mean, come on, you're doing sit-ups with 40 kilos. Imagine how many he can do without the 40 kilos. Do you know, he was going like a lunatic. I mean, when I was upstairs, going to the gym upstairs, the weight gym, up this sort of metal staircase, he would do absolutely hundreds and hundreds of sit-ups, mate. Honestly, he was very fit, and that's why he used to walk very upright, because his tummy muscles was all torn, big shoulders, powerful man. I like Vicky Dart, mate. I did get to speak to him once when I was out. He was with some guys that I know from East Acton, and they put me on. I was talking to this guy on the phone. My mate was talking to this guy on the phone. I think it was Alec Jones was talking to this guy on the phone, and sitting next to him was Vicky Dart. And I said, "All right, Vic, how you going?" He said, "Who's that?" I said, "Well." He went, "All right, mate." He said, "What are you up to?" I said, "I'm the same thing, Vic." He went, "You come and see me sometime." He lives over the other side of the water. But a nice guy, nice, dangerous guy. You don't want to fuck with Vicky Dart, mate, because he will bury you back to show that he's the sort of geezer. I think he's doing got his own security company now. He's doing really well, and I'm so pleased with him, mucker, because he's a nice guy. He's a guy that I'd like to see go forward. You know them guys, you know, one day you think, yeah, that guy's in it, mate, he'll kick it off, he'll let it off. Now he is, yeah. And I think he looks after proper people, Arabs and all that. He's VIP. He's doing all right, Vicky Dart, and I'm really happy for him. Anyway, listen, I'm going to do a part two of this, because I can keep going, but I want to do a part two. I've got to do my book today, and so there'll be a part two. Whether or not it be later today or in the morning, I don't know, but I'm trying to get it done later today. So this is Bang Bang Radio. Please press the like button, subscribe, and good morning, yeah.